Erica stood in the elevator of the Fashion Capital building, staring at the flickering floor numbers from 18 to 22. With each jump, the force with which her nails unconsciously dug into the leather surface of her handbag grew stronger. Light brown indentations slowly seeped into the off-white leather, like a trace of anxiety she couldn't hide. When the elevator doors slid open, a gust of cold central air mixed with perfume hit her. She took a deep breath, quietly smoothed the wrinkles on her skirt with her fingertips, and straightened her back straighter than usual, as if it were her last line of defense against the unknown. "Ms. Durand, Mr. Pierre is expecting you." The receptionist's smile was as perfect as if carved from mold. With a light tap on her tablet, she added, "The conference room is at the end of the hallway. The board members are already here." Erica nodded. The sound of her high heels tapping against the marble floor was crisper than usual and emptier. The moment she pushed open the conference room door, her gaze automatically swept across the round table. Theo Pierre sat at the head, his fingers tapping rapidly on his tablet, while the eyes of the other three board members fell on her in unison, carrying a cold distance she'd never seen before. A faint scent of cologne lingered in the air, the kind Pierre always wore. Once, it had made her feel at ease. Now, it pricked her like tiny needles, making it hard to breathe. "Sit, Erica," Pierre said without looking up. The glow from his screen reflected on his glasses, hiding his eyes. She pulled out her chair. The metal legs scraped against the floor with a harsh, screeching sound. "I've prepared the proposal for next quarter's feature, focused on the diverse charm of mature women. I sent you the first draft last week." Pierre finally looked up, his fingers pausing on the screen. "I'm afraid that won't be necessary," he said softly, but his words hit like a hammer on glass. "The board has decided to make personnel adjustments. The new shareholders want the magazine to take a younger direction, and your style just isn't a good fit." The conference room fell so silent she could hear her own heartbeat. Erica felt blood rush to her temples, a buzzing in her ears, and the edge of the folder in her hand dug into her knuckles until they turned white. "What do you mean?" Her voice trembled more than she'd expected. "This is the termination agreement." Pierre pushed over a blue folder. The gilded Fashion Capital logo on the cover dazzled her eyes. "The terms are generous. Your severance pay will let you rest for 6 months or start over." Erica's fingers landed on the number for severance pay, her fingertips trembling slightly. It was equivalent to 3 months of her salary. It felt like a mockery of her 10-year career. "Is it just because I'm 38? Don't take it like that, Erica," Pierre sighed. He reached out as if to pat her shoulder, then pulled back halfway. "You know how this industry works. Readers want fresh faces, and the board wants traffic." When she walked out of the building, a light drizzle fell from the sky. The cold raindrops on her face helped her sober up a little. Erica stood under the eaves, watching the splashes of rain on the ground, like countless shattered mirrors. Her phone vibrated. It was a text from Mark. "I have a work dinner tonight. No need to wait up for me." She stared at the screen for a long time, until raindrops dampened the edges and blurred the words. That morning, she'd clearly seen a faint red mark on Mark's shirt collar. He'd said he'd nicked himself while shaving, but the color looked too much like lipstick. She hailed a taxi. When she said Rue Saint-Honoré, her voice was still hoarse. The car cut through the rain, and the Champs-Élysées outside the window gradually blurred. She thought of the couple scarves she and Mark had bought on that street 3 years earlier. They were probably still tucked away at the bottom of the closet, piled with unopened birthday gifts. "Ma'am, we're here." The driver's voice pulled her back to reality. Inside her usual cafe, warm yellow lights wrapped around the aroma of coffee. In the corner, Claire was already waiting, her hot chocolate still steaming. "Oh my God, you look terrible." Claire handed her a latte. Its cup was printed with tiny tulips, Erica's favorite design. "What happened? Did the proposal get rejected?" Erica tossed the termination papers onto the table. The sheets slid across the wooden surface with a soft rustle. "I got fired." "What?" Claire's eyes widened, her hand tightening around her cup. "Do those idiots even know what they've lost? You drove half the sales for last year's Independent Women feature." The steam from the coffee blurred Erica's vision. She suddenly laughed, her laughter tinged with bitterness. "The worst part is, I was just worrying about how to tell Mark. Worrying he'd think I'm useless. Worrying no one would pay our mortgage." Claire hesitated, her finger tracing the rim of her cup. She lowered her voice. "About Mark? There's something you need to know. My cousin interns at his company, and she said, Mark's been getting really close to his secretary. Last week, someone saw them leaving a hotel on the Champs-Élysées, holding hands." Erica's fingers froze on the cup's rim. The warmth of the latte seeped through the ceramic, but it couldn't warm the coldness in her fingertips. "I need proof," she heard herself say, her voice sounding strange, as if it belonged to someone else. Claire pulled a silver USB drive from her bag and set on the table. My cousin took photos secretly. She was scared to tell you, afraid it would hurt you. Erica clutched the USB drive in her palm. Its metal edge dug into her skin, sending a sharp pain. Outside, the rain grew heavier, and the sound of it hitting the window felt like quiet mockery. She thought of Mark saying he'd been on a business trip to New York the previous week, and the night before he left, how he'd held her and said, "I'll bring you a gift when I get back." When she got home, the apartment was pitch black. Erica turned on the lights, and warm white light flooded the room. Cold takeout sat on the dining table. She'd ordered it that morning before leaving, and Mark had barely touched it. His suit jacket was draped casually over a chair, a faint wine stain on the cuff. She walked over, her fingers unconsciously slipping into the jacket pocket. They brushed against a hard card, a hotel key, emblazoned with the Ritz Paris logo. The date was the previous Wednesday, the day Mark had claimed to be in New York. The blue glow of the computer screen lit up her face. The photos in the USB drive were painfully clear. Mark had his arm around a blonde woman's waist, and she leaned into his chest, smiling sweetly. They stood at the hotel entrance, Mark bending down to kiss her forehead, an intimate gesture like a couple. In the last photo, the woman's hand rested on Mark's shirt collar, where a faint red mark matched exactly what Erica had seen that morning. Her phone suddenly rang. The screen read Lena. Erica stared at the name for a long time before answering. Lena was her oldest friend in the fashion industry, and the one who understood her best. They'd survived the junior years together, stayed up till dawn backstage at Milan Fashion Week together, and promised each other they'd make it in this industry on our own terms. "I heard you left Fashion Capital." Lena's voice was deliberately light, with faint music in the background. Erica closed her eyes and leaned back in her chair. Word travels fast. Glamour World is looking for a new editor-in-chief. Their director is my college classmate. Lena paused, the lightness fading from her voice, replaced by sincerity. "I can recommend you. They'll definitely recognize your talent. Why are you helping me?" Erica opened her eyes, catching her reflection in the mirror, red-rimmed eyes, and the fine lines under them more noticeable than usual. There was a moment of silence on the other end. Then Lena said lightly, "Because I know what it feels like to be betrayed by your career or by love." After hanging up, Erica walked out onto the balcony. The rain had stopped, and a few stars peeked through Paris night sky, their faint lights spilling onto the street below. She pulled out a cigarette pack, lit one, and the taste of nicotine mixed with the cool night air made her cough. She hadn't smoked in years, not since Mark had said, "Smoking's bad for you," and she'd quit. Mark didn't come home until 2 a.m. He snuck in quietly, but when the entryway light turned on, he jumped at the sight of Erica, sitting in the dark. "You're still up?" He turned on the wall lamp. His tie hung loosely around his neck, 2 buttons of shirt undone, revealing a sliver of skin. Erica held up the hotel key, her fingertips white from gripping it. "Care to explain? Last Wednesday, when you were on a business trip to New York, why were you at the Ritz Paris?" Mark's face turned deathly pale. He opened his mouth, his hand automatically tightening around his tie, but no words came out. 10 years of marriage. Erica stood up, her voice eerily calm, like a frozen lake. "From when you were just an intern editor to now, the department manager. From squeezing into that 10-square-meter apartment to moving into this one with a view of the Eiffel Tower. I thought we were in this together." "Erica, let me explain. I was drunk that night. I had no idea how I ended up at the hotel. She came on to me." Mark reached out to grab her wrist, panic in his voice. Erica dodged his touch, grabbed her coat from the sofa, and walked toward the door. "No need," she said without pausing. "I'll move out tomorrow. My lawyer will send you the divorce papers." The moment the elevator doors closed, she finally collapsed to her knees, her shoulders shaking uncontrollably. Her phone vibrated in her pocket. It was an email from Glamour World's HR with the subject line, "Editor-in-Chief interview invitation, scheduled for 10 a.m. the next day." Erica wiped away her tears, stared at the email for a long time, hesitated for a few seconds, then hit reply. "I'll be there on time." Lena stared at the digital version of Fashion Capital's latest issue on her computer screen, her nails digging deep into her palm, leaving red crescent marks. Her feature story, the collision of vintage and modern, had been butchered beyond recognition. What was once a 3,000-word in-depth analysis was reduced to an 800-word summary, and her byline was squeezed into the corner of the page. The tiny words, "Graphic editor Lena Schmidt," pricked her eyes like needles. "Schmidt, the director wants you in the conference room." The director's assistant tapped on her cubicle glass, her eyes filled with faint sympathy. "Director Julian just took over. You be careful." The air conditioning in the conference room was cranked too high. Lena shivered as soon as she walked in. She looked across at Julian, the new creative director, just transferred from the U.S., who tapped his pen rhythmically on the table. The steady beat sent a tightness to her chest. Given the magazine's need to rebrand, Your vintage-style column will be discontinued starting next issue, Julian said flatly, as if discussing something trivial. Why? Lena heard her voice tremble. She clenched her fists, her nails digging into her palms, trying to stay calm. Last month's reader survey showed my column was in the top 3 for clicks. The comment section is full of fans. Julian pushed over a document, its cover emblazoned with personnel adjustment notice. The board thinks your style is too conservative. It doesn't fit the youthful direction, he said, pointing to the salary adjustment section in the middle. But don't worry too much. You can still handle layout, proofreading, and basic typesetting. Your salary will just be cut by 15%. Lena stared at the crossed-out old salary number, a sharp pain twisting in her stomach, as if something were churning inside. She thought of her landlord saying he'd raised the rent last month, of her mother's medical bills piling up, of staying up late every night researching for this column, and spending weekends combing Paris vintage markets. Now, all she got was too conservative. Was this Erica's idea? She suddenly asked, uncertainty in her voice. Julian raised an eyebrow, a faint, mocking smile playing at his lips. Ms. Durand is now editor-in-chief at Glamour World. You should know her thoughts better than I do. As she walked out of the conference room, Lena's phone vibrated. It was a text from Marcus. Meet at our usual spot tonight, followed by a heart emoji. She stared at the emoji for a long time, suddenly feeling sick. This married man had just told her last week, "We need to end this. I can't lie to my wife anymore." And now he was sending her this. "Lena, are you okay?" Her colleague Lisa handed her hot coffee, its cup wrapped in a pink sleeve. "You look awful. Did Julian give you a hard time?" The coffee cup was scalding. Lena's fingertips turned red instantly. She lowered her head to blow on it, her voice hoarse. "Heard Erica's taking over as editor-in-chief at Glamour World?" Lisa leaned in, lowering her voice. "It was announced this morning. Everyone's sharing it on WeChat. Oh, and I also heard Erica got divorced. Her husband Mark had an affair with his secretary. I think it's true." The cafe's glass reflected Lena's distorted reflection. She thought of the night she and Erica had spent backstage at Milan Fashion Week 3 years earlier. They just finished a show, sitting on the floor drinking champagne. Erica had said, "When we have the power someday, we'll start a magazine that's truly for women." And Lena had replied, "I want to design clothes that make women feel strong." Back then, their eyes had shone with hope. Her phone vibrated again. Marcus had sent a photo, a king-size bed in a hotel room, with a bouquet of white roses, Lena's favorite, on the nightstand. She suddenly threw her phone against the wall. The screen cracked with a loud bang, drawing stares from her colleagues. "Need help?" A new intern approached timidly, holding a tissue. I can pick it up for you." Lena bent down to retrieve her phone. The cracks on the screen spread like a spiderweb. "No need," she said coldly, and the intern took an involuntary step back. It started raining when she got off work. Lena stood at the company entrance, watching rainwater form small streams on the ground, splashing up tiny droplets. A black Mercedes pulled up beside her. The window rolled down, revealing Marcus' face. He wore a custom suit, his hair neatly combed, faint wrinkles at the corners of his eyes. "Get in, baby." Marcus reached out to wipe the rain from her face, his fingertips warm. Lena dodged his hand. Rain dripped from her hair onto her shoulders. "Does your wife know you're out cheating again?" she asked softly, but her words cut like ice. Marcus' face changed, his smile freezing. "We agreed not to talk about her, didn't we?" What about you?" Lena cut him off, rain blurring her vision. "You said you loved me, said you'd get a divorce. But what did you do? You buy your wife limited edition bags and mean necklaces from street stalls. You spend your wedding anniversary with her, but leave me waiting in a hotel till midnight. Marcus, do you really think I'm that stupid?" The rain poured harder. Lena looked at Marcus' flustered face, suddenly finding it ridiculous. She'd once thought this forbidden love was a rebellion against the world, an escape from her failing career. Now she realized she was just another name on his list of conquests, a toy he could discard anytime. "It's over," she said, turning to walk into the rain. Her high heels stepped into puddles, splashing mud onto her pants. She didn't look back, even when Marcus called her name, his voice filled with a panic she'd never heard before. The apartment was as cold as an icebox. Lena took off her soaked shirt. In the mirror, her face was pale, her ribs prominent, and a fresh cigarette burn marked her wrist. She'd done it with a cigarette, but after arguing with Marcus last week. It had hurt so much she'd cried, but it had also sobered her up a little. Marcus always said she was too thin, but he never knew she hadn't eaten a proper meal in 3 months. Not because she couldn't afford it, but because she had no appetite, because she'd lost the will to live. A fashion news segment played on the TV. Erica Durand, the new editor-in-chief of Glamour World, spoke confidently on camera, wearing a crisp white suit, her eyes sharp as a knife. "I believe women shouldn't be defined by their age, let alone trapped by marriage," Erica said into the microphone, her smile confident and composed. Lena stared at that familiar, yet unfamiliar face, her chest tightening. The last time they'd met was at a fashion award ceremony 6 months earlier. They'd raised their glasses across the crowd, their smiles as perfect as masks. Neither had spoken of their troubles. Her phone lit up suddenly. It was a message from Sophia at Fashion Forward. Heard about you and Erica. There's a private dinner tomorrow night at the hotel next to Milan Cathedral. Coming. Lena's fingers hovered over the screen. Sophia had always been good at navigating the fashion industry's tangled relationships. She was probably inviting Lena just to watch the drama. A flash of lightning outside lit up the cigarette burn on her wrist and also the small bag of white powder in her drawer. Marcus had given it to her last time, saying, "It'll make you forget all your troubles." She'd tried it once. The dizziness had temporarily made her forget her career failure and heartbreak, but it had only left her emptier. Lena replied, "Send me the address." Then she pulled out a stack of dusty design sketches from the back of the drawer. The paper was yellowed, coffee stains on the edges. This was her graduation collection from college, titled Rebirth, using soft yet durable fabrics. Erica had said back then, "These designs will change the world. They'll let more women see their own strength." The sound of rain hitting the window grew louder. Lena spread the sketches out on the bed, her fingertips brushing over the bold lines. Her eyes suddenly welled up with tears. Underneath the sketches was a photo. Her and Erica standing in front of the Eiffel Tower, holding crepes, laughing without a care. The sun had shone on their faces, warm like a dream. On the TV, Erica was still talking about giving more opportunities to female designers. Lena turned off the TV. The only sounds left in the room were the rain and her breathing. She picked up her phone, hesitated for a long time, then deleted all her contacts with Marcus, and also the photo of the drawer hiding the white powder. She thought, maybe it's time to end this. To end this self-deceptive life. An ambulance siren wailed past outside, its sharp sound cutting through the rainy night. Lena remembered something Erica had once said. In this industry, sooner or later, we all have to choose, be the prey or the hunter. She touched the cigarette burn on her wrist and whispered, "This time, I want to be my own hunter." Sophia stood by the floor-to-ceiling window on the top floor of Fashion Forward headquarters, overlooking the spire of Milan Cathedral. Sunlight streamed through the glass, casting long streaks of light on the floor. She just hung up a congratulatory call from the board, her fingers unconsciously brushing the new nameplate on her desk. Editor-in-Chief Sophia Rossi, its metal surface still cool to the touch. "Ms. Rossi, the school called about your daughter Anna. They said it's urgent." Her assistant Emma hurried in, holding her phone, a troubled look on her face. The head teacher said, "It'd be best if you could come right away." Sophia took the phone. On the screen was a photo sent by Anna's head teacher, Claudia. 15-year-old Anna had a neon pink pixie cut, flipping off the camera. Her school uniform jacket had been altered into a crop top, and her jeans were covered in rips. A sharp pain twisted in Sophia's stomach, as if something were squeezing it. When did this happen? Sophia's voice tightened. She thought of last week, when Anna had begged to go to a punk music festival. Sophia had been busy finalizing her editor-in-chief application and had just handed Anna a credit card before rushing out. This morning, in chemistry class, Anna talked back to the teacher and threw her textbook on the floor. Emma added quietly, "Ms. Claudia said this is Anna's third disciplinary incident this semester. Last time she got a lip piercing without permission, and the time before that, she cut her school skirt into a miniskirt." Sophia flipped the phone face down on the desk. The cold glass helped her calm down a little. On her desk was a photo of her and Anna at Lake Como last year. Back then, Anna had worn a floral dress Sophia had picked out, her hair in a ponytail, her smile as sweet as a doll's. She'd wrapped her arms around Sophia's neck and said, "Mom is the best." Now, Anna was like a different person. Postpone the 2 p.m. brand meeting until tomorrow and hand the 4 p.m. layout review to the deputy editor-in-chief. Sophia grabbed her coat and hurried toward the door. "Get the car ready. Take me to the international school." In the back seat was a new Chanel backpack she'd bought for Anna, pink leather embroidered with small pearls. She'd picked it up specially during a business trip to Paris yesterday. Sophia stared at the ribbon on the packaging, remembering the loud bang of Anna slamming the door that morning when she'd left empty-handed. At the time, Sophia had been busy confirming the shooting details for the autumn feature with Chanel's representatives and hadn't even glanced at Anna's retreating back. The school hallway was eerily quiet, except for the sound of a janitor pushing a cleaning cart. In Miss Claudia's office, sunlight filtered through the blinds, casting dappled light on the desk. "Ms. Rossi, Anna's been in a really bad state this semester." Claudia pushed up her glasses, the chains swaying slightly. "She never pays attention in class, never hands in homework. Last time I talked to her, she even said, 'Studying is useless. I might as well drop out and join the real world.' I'll talk to her properly." I'm sorry for the trouble. Sophia's nails dug into her palm. She could picture Anna's expression when she'd said those words, defiant and indifferent, just like Sophia's own tone whenever she'd said, "Mom's busy." There's something more serious. Claudia pulled a piece of paper from her drawer and pushed it toward Sophia. This is an essay Anna wrote last week, titled My Wish. Please read it. The edges of the paper were stained with dried watermarks, like tears. Sophia picked it up, and the messy handwriting cut into her retinas. My wish is to jump off the apartment roof. That way, Mom won't have to worry about me anymore. She only loves her magazine, only loves her work. If I disappear, she probably won't even notice. Sophia's breath caught in her throat, as if a heavy stone were pressing on her chest. She thought of her 40th birthday 3 months earlier. Anna had said she wanted to bake her a cake, but Sophia had been going to a fashion gala and had said, "Mom doesn't have time. You can eat it yourself." She thought of last month, when Anna had had a 39-degree fever and called her. Sophia had only said, "Ask the nanny to take you to the hospital." Mom's at a fashion show in Paris. She can't leave. Faint piano music drifted from the music room, Debussy's Clair de Lune. Sophia followed the sound. Through the crack in the door, she saw Anna sitting at the piano, her fingers dancing nimbly over the keys. A few band-aids were stuck to the keys, and her pink hair swayed slightly to the rhythm. "When did you learn to play the piano?" Sophia pushed the door open, her voice hoarse. The music stopped abruptly. "Anna, turn around." Her nose ring glinted coldly in the sunset, her eyes filled with wariness and distance. 3 years ago," she said flatly. "You never asked, so of course you didn't know." As Sophia approached, she smelled a faint scent of cigarettes coming from Anna's school uniform pocket. She reached out and grabbed her daughter's wrist. Her skin was icy cold. "You're smoking too? Anna, you're only 15. Let go." Anna yanked her hand back. Fresh blood seeped from the edge of her Band-Aid. "Now you decide to care? Last week, when I had a 39-degree fever and was lying in bed alone, where were you?" "At a fashion show in Paris, chatting and laughing with those designers." A notebook was spread open on the piano bench, filled with doodles, mostly black lines, drawing twisted figures. Sophia caught a glimpse of the words "die," scribbled over and over, next to a hanging figure labeled Anna. Her heart ached as if pricked by needles. "Anna, Mom's been really busy lately. The editor-in-chief position requires. It's always the same excuse." Anna grabbed her backpack and threw it at the piano. Sheet music scattered across the floor with a crash. "Do you know why I dye my hair pink? Because in that video call last month, you looked at me for 10 seconds and said, 'Nice haircut,' but I'd had this haircut for half a year. You never even looked at me properly." Sophia bent down to pick up the sheet music. Her fingers brushed a hand-copied score, and at the top was written, "Birthday gift for Mom, dated 3 months earlier, exactly her 40th birthday, which she'd forgotten to celebrate." The edges of the score were folded and worn. Clearly Anna had looked at it many times. "Baby, let's go home and talk this through, okay?" "Mom, that's your home, not mine." Anna twisted off her nose ring and threw it on the floor. The metal ring rolled to Sophia's feet with a crisp clink. "I made plans with Luca. I'm going to live on his family's farm. His mom makes my favorite pasta. She listens to me, and she never says, 'Mom's busy.'" Sophia finally noticed the new Freedom tattoo on Anna's collarbone. The red ink was still oozing blood, clearly fresh. She remembered last week, when Anna had said, "I want a tattoo." Sophia had been haggling with a brand representative and had casually said, "Don't be stupid. You'll regret it," without listening to the rest of what Anna had to say. "Who's Luca? You're only 15. How can you just go live with a stranger?" Sophia's voice was panicky. For the first time, she felt how far apart she'd grown from her daughter. "Luca at least remembers I'm allergic to peanuts. Remembers I don't eat cilantro." Anna grabbed her coat and walked out quickly. "Oh, and by the way, I already dropped out. I'm applying to a public school tomorrow. I don't have to stay in this stupid place full of good students anymore." When Sophia stopped her, she felt Anna's prominent shoulder blades. Through the thin school uniform, she could clearly feel the shape of her bones. This little girl who had once curled up in her arms listening to The Little Mermaid, who had once said, "I want to work with Mom when I grow up." Now she was as thin as a sheet of paper, her eyes filled with a coldness Sophia couldn't understand. "Please, Anna, give Mom a chance to make this right, okay?" Sophia realized she was crying. Tears fell onto Anna's uniform, leaving small, wet stains. Anna froze. Sunlight filtered through the stained glass window, casting dappled shadows on her face. Her mascara ran from her tears, making her look like a messy cat. She was silent for a long time, then said softly, "It's too late, Mom. You chose your magazine. I choose my life." The janitor pushed his cleaning cart past, the rubber wheels screeching against the floor. Sophia watched her daughter walk toward the school gate without looking back. Luca was waiting for her on a motorcycle, holding a helmet. Anna took the helmet, climbed onto the back of the motorcycle, and her pink hair fluttered in the sunset like a burning flame. Her phone vibrated in her bag. It was a message from Emma. Chanel's representatives arrived early. They're waiting for you in the conference room to confirm the autumn features, shooting plan, and model selections. Sophia turned off the screen. Her fingers brushed a crumpled note in her bag. Anna had stuffed it into her hand that morning, but Sophia had been in a hurry to leave and hadn't read it. The messy handwriting said, "Mom, I had a nightmare last night. I dreamed you were gone, and I was so scared. Can you have breakfast with me today?" The note trembled in Sophia's fingers. She stared at those words for a long time, until her phone rang again. It was the schedule for the Chanel event, with bold text at the top. International Fashion Gala red carpet, 6 p.m. Do not be late. Cancel all my plans for today, including tonight's fashion gala. Sophia said into the phone, her voice unrecognizable. Tell Chanel's representatives we'll discuss the shooting plan tomorrow. I have something more important to do right now. The bells of Milan Cathedral rang 4 times, their deep resonance echoing through the streets. Sophia stood at the school gate, watching the crumpled note flutter in the wind. Anna's motorcycle had long disappeared around the corner, leaving only a few black tire tracks on the asphalt. "Ms. Rossi, it's going to rain. Would you like—" The janitor handed her a black umbrella, his tone gentle. Sophia shook her head and walked toward the parking lot. Her car's GPS showed Anna's phone signal was at a farm on the outskirts of the city, 30 kilometers from central Milan. The windshield wipers swept in a monotonous arc. She thought of when Anna was 5 and had a fever. Sophia had turned down an invitation to the Met Gala to stay home and watch The Little Mermaid with her. Back then, Anna had curled up in her arms and said, "Mom smells like stars." Her phone vibrated suddenly. It was a group email from Glamour World's PR department, confirming Erica would attend tonight's fashion gala. The attached photo showed Erica in a sharp white suit, standing in front of Milan Cathedral, her smile confident and composed. Sophia remembered the news she'd heard that morning. Mark was still trying to win Erica back, giving her the same necklace he'd given her on their wedding day. Damn it, Sophia sharply turned the steering wheel. The car swerved in the rain. She had 2 hours to reach the farm before Anna did. But just then, Emma sent a message. The board just called. They said if you missed tonight's fashion gala, the budget for the spring special issue might be cut. Sophia looked at the farm's address on the GPS, then thought of the board's pressure. Her fingers tightened around the steering wheel. She hesitated for a few seconds, then texted her deputy editor-in-chief. "I've finalized the budget plan for the spring special issue. You represent me in talking to the board. Emphasize how important the Chanel collaboration is for the magazine. Also, apologize to Chanel's representatives for me. I'll visit them in person tomorrow." After sending the message, she stepped on the gas. The car accelerated through the rain. She thought, this time, she couldn't afford to miss her daughter again. The lights in the dressing room stung her eyes. Erica closed them as the makeup artist touched up her lipstick, Dior, $9.99, the same shade Lena had lent her years ago. Lena had said, "This is the color of a warrior." Her phone vibrated on the table. It was a text from Mark. "I'm waiting for you in the hotel lobby. I want to talk about Venice," followed by a rose emoji. "Ms. Durand, the red carpet starts soon," the makeup artist reminded her. Erica opened her eyes and looked at her reflection in the mirror. The white suit made her skin look pale. There was a hint of tiredness in her eyes, but also an unhidden sharpness. "I know. I'll be right there." The red carpet entrance was crowded, camera flashes popping nonstop. As soon as Erica stepped forward, reporters swarmed around her. "Ms. Durand, what are your career plans after the divorce? Will Glamour World's next quarter feature focus on younger audiences? I believe women shouldn't be defined by marriage." Erica smiled into the microphones, her voice calm. "Whether we're 38 or 48, we have the right to pursue our careers. Glamour World will cater to all women, young girls and mature women alike." She was about to leave when she saw Lena walking in from another entrance. Lena wore a black backless gown, with a small tattoo of a blooming rose on her lower back, faintly visible under the lights. A diamond bracelet adorned her wrist, but it couldn't hide the faint cigarette burn beneath. "Long time no see, editor-in-chief Erica." Lena held up a champagne flute, her eyes sweeping over Erica with a hint of sarcasm. "Looks like you're doing even better since leaving Fashion Capital." Erica's smile froze. She could feel the reporters' eyes focusing on them. "Heard you switched to being a freelance designer. How's your new collection coming?" "Thanks to you, I finally got the chance to go back to designing." Lena's nails dug into her palm. She lowered her voice, just enough for the people around them to hear. "After getting demoted, I realized how much I hate proofreading other people's work and how much I love drawing my own designs." Just then, Sophia pushed through the crowd. She wore a red gown, her hair neatly pinned up, but the tiredness in her eyes was hard to hide. "Lena, Erica, long time no see." She tried to defuse the tension. "The dinner tonight is lovely. Let's spare me, Sophia. Lena scoffed, cutting her off. You rejected my submission email last week. Now you're pretending to be nice? You're just like Erica, climbing to the top by stepping on others. Erica stepped forward, her tone serious. Lena, we can talk about this privately. Let's not do this here. What's wrong with talking here? Lena's voice rose an octave, drawing more reporters. One of you stole my column, the other rejected my designs. Now you're both editors-in-chief, and I'm stuck as a freelance designer, living off other people's pity. Is this the fairness of the fashion industry? A murmur spread through the crowd. Sophia instinctively stepped between them, trying to pull them aside, but Lena pushed her away. Don't touch me. Lena's eyes were red, tears welling up. Do you know who Marcus is? He's the husband of the secretary your husband Mark had an affair with. I slept with that woman's husband for 8 months. I became the kind of person I hate the most. Erica's face turned deathly pale. She stared at Lena, her lips moving, but no words came out. She'd never imagined her life and Lena's would be tangled in such a ridiculous way. Camera flashes exploded. Reporters held up their cameras, capturing the chaos. Sophia tried to stop them, but the crowd pushed her aside. Lena looked at the cameras around her and suddenly laughed, a desperate laugh. Take the photos. Take them all. Let everyone see behind the glitz and glamour of the fashion industry. It's all dirty deals and fake friendships. The champagne flute slipped from Lena's hand. It crashed to the marble floor with a bang, shattering into pieces. Sophia stepped on the wine, stumbled back, and accidentally knocked over a champagne tower. The sound of breaking glass, reporters' chatter, and camera shutters mixed into a chaotic din. Just then, Erica suddenly laughed, a soft laugh that cut through the noise. My God, we're so pathetic, she said, looking at Lena and Sophia. There was tiredness in her eyes and a hint of relief. We let ourselves get this messed up for a so-called career for men who aren't worth it. Lena's chest heaved. She looked at her trembling hands, still marked by the diamond bracelet Marcus had given her. Yeah, so damn pathetic, she said, and tears finally rolled down her cheeks, glistening like pearls under the lights. Security guards quickly arrived to clear the area. Sophia's gown was dripping with champagne, her hair disheveled. She looked at the mess around her and suddenly thought of the nightmare Anna had written about. Turns out, they were all living in their own nightmares. Come to my hotel room, Sophia said softly, looking at Erica and Lena. At least there, no reporters, no cameras. We can talk properly. An awkward silence filled the elevator. Lena's diamond bracelet caught on the button of Erica's suit. They fumbled to untangle it, their fingers brushing accidentally before pulling back quickly. Sophia watched them, remembering the night they'd stayed up till dawn backstage at Milan Fashion Week. Back then, there had been no such gaps or conflicts between them. They'd been able to share their dreams openly. Your wrist. Erica suddenly looked at Lena's wrist, her gaze falling on the cigarette burn. There was concern in her voice. Lena quickly pulled down her sleeve to cover it, her tone sharp. It's none of your business. In the hotel room, Milan's night view spread out beyond the window, a sea of lights. Sophia poured 2 glasses of whiskey and handed them over. Drink this, it'll warm you up. Erica took the glass. Her fingertips touched the cold crystal. Mark came to see me yesterday. He brought our wedding photos, the ones we took in Venice on our first trip together. He said he's sorry, that he wants to start over. So you're softening? Lena took a sip of whiskey. The spicy liquid burned her throat, sobering her up a little. Did you forget how he betrayed you? Forget the photos of him with that secretary in the hotel? I haven't forgotten. Erica shook her head, a hint of confusion in her eyes. But 10 years of marriage, you can't just erase that. Those days, those memories, they're like an old dress. It no longer fits, but you still can't bear to throw it away. Lena pulled a crumpled stack of design sketches from her bag and laid them on the table. Look, this is my college graduation portfolio. It's titled Rebirth. She pointed to one sketch. You said back then, this asymmetrical cut would change the fashion industry. That would let more women see their own strength. Erica picked up the sketches, her fingertips brushing the familiar lines. Her eyes grew warm. You should have stuck to designing back then, not become an editor. It's not too late to start now. Lena smiled, a real smile with a hint of warmth. I'm checking into a rehab center tomorrow. Marcus gave me some cocaine before. I tried a few times, almost got hooked, but I've already contacted a rehab center. I'm going tomorrow. Sophia took Lena's hand. It was cold but steady. Do you want me to go with you? No need. Lena shook her head. This time, I want to face it alone. I want to quit more than just the drugs. I want to let go of the people and things that aren't worth it. Erica's phone lit up. It was another text from Mark. I'm still waiting for you in the lobby. I know I was wrong. Give me one more chance. She stared at the screen, hesitated for a few seconds, then silenced her phone. I don't think I'll look back. Erica looked up at Lena and Sophia, determination in her eyes. Marriage isn't everything. Career isn't everything. The important thing is we have to live for ourselves. Sophia's phone lit up too. It was a photo from the farm owner. Anna, sitting on a hay bale, holding a lamb. Hay was stuck in her pink hair, and she was smiling widely. Below the photo was a message. Anna said she wants to talk to you properly. Sophia looked at the photo and cried, tears of relief. I'm going to pick Anna up from the farm tomorrow. I'll take her to Tuscany for 2 weeks, she said, looking at Erica and Lena. I've handed the spring special issue to the deputy editor-in-chief. I think my daughter is more important than work. Outside, it started raining again. The sound of raindrops hitting the window was soft. The 3 women sat in the room, drinking whiskey, talking about old memories and future plans. They'd hurt each other because of their careers and relationships, but in their most vulnerable moments, they'd chosen to stand by each other. Remember the first time we met? Erica suddenly said, backstage at Paris Fashion Week in 2003. You lent me a Dior $9.99 lipstick. I remember, Lena laughed. You said it would bring you good luck. And it did. Erica looked at Sophia. And you just started in the fashion industry back then. You accidentally spilled coffee on my gown. Sophia laughed too, a relaxed laugh she hadn't felt in a long time. I thought you'd be mad, but you helped me clean it up instead. As the night deepened, the rain gradually stopped. The 3 women made a promise. When Lena got out of rehab, they'd start a studio together, one that supported talented female designers who never got a chance. Erica would handle planning, Lena would lead design, and Sophia would manage operations. They'd fulfill the dream they'd made backstage at Milan Fashion Week. The next morning, Lena carried a simple suitcase and walked through the rehab center's doors. She looked back once. Sunlight shone on her face, warm and bright. She knew the road ahead would be long, but she was ready. Erica turned down Mark's attempt to reconcile. She focused on her work at Glamour World, launching a women's strength feature that featured both mature women and emerging designers. The magazine's sales soared. Sophia picked Anna up from the farm and took her to Tuscany. There, they watched the sunrise together, cooked together, and talked about Anna's piano and dreams. Anna's pink hair gradually grew out, and she took out her nose ring, but her smile was brighter than ever. A month later, Erica received a postcard. It was from Lena, sent from the rehab center. A blooming rose was drawn on the front. On the back, Lena had written, I'm doing well. The cherry blossoms here are in bloom. They're beautiful. When I get out, we can start planning our studio. Oh, and my new collection is called Rebirth. I want you to be the first to read it. Erica held the postcard and smiled, sending a photo of it to Sophia. Soon, Sophia replied. Anna said she wants to design the logo for our studio. Erica looked at her phone. Sunlight streamed through the window, warm like that afternoon backstage at Paris Fashion Week. She knew no matter what difficulties lay ahead, the 3 of them would face them together, grow together, because they were each other's stars, lighting the way for one another in the dark.